Hi there, Isolde here, and I'm not really in a good place right now. Haven't been for a long time, and I don't know, I feel like I'm doing this video more for myself than for someone else to see, to get amusement out of. If you don't know me, you would probably see me as a very happy person. Very happy, very talkative, social, always seeing the life from a bright side, a positive side. And not that that isn't me, because I am that person still. But sometimes I feel like all the positive energy that I have inside me, I use every time I go out and show myself to people. And when I come home, I am out of that energy, and whatever is left is things I don't want to deal with. But I am dealing with them, so that's something. It's been, I want to say a rough couple of days, but it's more like months, if I'm gonna be honest. And I felt like I needed to just talk things out. So I saw my plants in my window, and I just decided that I would replant them, because I've been meaning to do that for the longest time. And then I also thought that I would like to do this video just talking about how I feel, both mentally and physically, just so I can sort of, I don't know, get it out there, and maybe don't feel as pressured to uphold this picture of myself, that it's okay for me to feel this way and I don't need to hide it. And I know for a fact that I'm better at it now. Before it was like I couldn't show emotions that wasn't positive. Nowadays I have a lot, it's easier to do that. But with that said, it isn't hard. It's easier, but still hard. So I thought I would replant my plants whilst I tell you the real deal, what's actually happening and how I actually feel. And I don't even know if I will upload this video. I sort of just want to talk to myself, because I've noticed that when I feel bad, talking is the best way for me to sort of reflect and analyze my situation and my feelings. And now I do have this platform that I did create so I could do whatever I wanted on this platform. And this is one part of me. So if I decide to use that platform for my mental and physical health, then why not? So I'm just gonna dump this little bad boy. Fun fact, I actually name all my plants. This is Arnold. Arnold, my aloe vera, it's the first plant that survived me because I am so bad at keeping plants alive. And I got Arnold from a friend who is really good at plants, and he started growing. And I started to feel like if I can take care of him, I can take care of myself. So yeah, let's just get into this, and I will tell you what's been on my mind. And just so I don't know what will show on video, I'm just gonna do it whilst talking about something that feels hard to talk about. So it's a way to distract me, but also a way for me to open up. But I have a little box here. I'm gonna just dump it all out and replant Arnold, and I'm gonna replant Helix, which is this plant. There's not much left of him. He is actually the one who I decided that I would do this, because if I turn him, yeah, he's pretty broken, dead, just like me. So I wanted to replant him and just give him a new chance, I guess. So I'm actually gonna start with him because Arnold is quite well now. So I'm just gonna let him be, and I'm just gonna dump Helix out. Let's see if we can get him out without hurting him. Let's see. So I don't feel that good, as I told you, and I guess it's all started in middle school, I guess. It didn't really take, it took a while before it really became a problem. But middle school is when I can recall it beginning, so to speak. And there we go. Down you go, boy. So during my upbringing, when I was a kid in school, and this is before middle school, I was bullied a lot. And most people would say that is, why I feel bad, but I don't feel like that. I feel like surely things that happened when I was bullied is affecting me. I mean, of course they are. But I feel like I came over that a long time ago, and that is not something that I keep with me any longer. It's a part of me, it's a part of my history, of my story, and that's sort of it, in my opinion. Sorry, I am actually a bit sick. So it's not that I am emotional and crying and sniffling, it's more of I can't really breathe. But it is a possibility that I would cry, but I will probably not, try not to do it at least. Well, I was bullied, as I told you, and when I started middle school, I changed school, because the school I was in before, the one that I got bullied, they only had 6 grades, so you had to change school either way. And everyone in my class went to one school and I went to another school, because my big sister went to that school that I was going to, and I just had heard so much good things of it, and she's my big sister, I look up to her, so I really wanted to do what she did, and I'm glad I did. I am. But it had its challenges as well. So I started at a new school, and right off the bat, I felt stressed. A stress that I didn't really had encountered before. Now, it's sort of hard to see what is dead of this plant and what's not. I'm gonna try to make this good anyway. You know, when you start middle school, at least here in Sweden, it's a lot more different. Because before, it didn't really mean anything. I didn't really get grades. You get grades nowadays, but when I went to school, I didn't really get grades that early. Let's see, there we go. So now we were going to have grades, and there was, you know, new challenges, new people, new friends, new experiences. And although it wasn't bad back then, really wasn't. I did sort of, you know, feel the pressure that I haven't felt before. I really hope that I'm not doing this worse. Because truth be told, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just tearing this apart, hoping that I have to fix it, and I'm not. Come on, there we go. I just try to take away the dead stems, at least, without disrupting too much of the roots. I don't know if that's how you do it. I have no idea what I'm doing. There we go. And yeah, so well, you know, sort of thinking of my my life and so on, I do recognize that this feeling I have now started back then, but it was very, very insignificant. And not really worth my while. Nothing that would make me feel like actually caring about what happened. So I started high school, and then things started to happening. First year of high school was hard. For many different reasons, because just for some context, when you start, why is there hair in here? I don't want that. In Sweden, you sort of, what do you say? The way that you would go to a sort of college, you do an application, you look at your grades, and you hope for the best. That's the same with high school in Sweden. So I had chosen a curriculum? No? Either way, the school that I went to was a very creative school. And first I started as an art student. And I didn't like it. And I wanted to change to dance, because I danced for basically all my life. And I felt like art wasn't my thing, dance was. So I wanted to do that. But I wasn't allowed to just jump to the next class. I needed to redo the whole year instead, which was a bummer. It really was. And at the time I was so mad at the people who decided this. And now when I'm grown up and I know how things work in the school department, I know that was just pure bullshit. But my nose is running. Well, I started dancing 1 year after all my other friends. It was the same age as mine. So, there we have him. Looks a lot better now. Yeah, so of course that in itself made me feel like I wasn't good enough. But I didn't want it to sort of take over. I was like, well, this is how it is. This is my life now. And it's not really something I can do about it. Come on. Come on. Just gonna accept what happened, you know. And I did. So a little bit salty about it. You know, life happens. Okay, get down. There we go. Oh, dirt. Yes. Fun fact, I thought that Arnold was dying at one point. I was really sad about it actually. I know he's just a plant, but he was the first one that survived me. And now I can see he's growing. And that makes me happy. Either way, it wasn't that big of a deal. I went 2 years into this dance school. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. And then I was stupid because I wanted to show off and did a sort of dance move that was too advanced for me to do, and I got an injury in my leg. My muscles in my leg got I don't know all the technical terms in English. It's easier to explain in Swedish, but it's like an inflammation, if that's what it's called, in my leg. So I couldn't walk straight for the longest time, and that made me not be able to dance, which was sad. But at the same time, this injury happened right before summer, so I had summer break at least to let this injury heal itself. But it didn't, and when I got back to school, everyone was dancing, I had to sit by the side and watch. And that took a toll on me. It really did. I felt like I was left alone and that no one really cared about me. I felt as if everyone looked at me weird, looked down at me, that I wasn't good enough. And once you start thinking those types of thoughts, you sort of just spiral. Luckily for me, I had a boyfriend at this time. Not any boyfriend, the same boyfriend I have today. And he was very supportive. And I do not know what I would have done without him. Because even though I tell him this like all the time, he really did save my life. Because although I am not good still. I could have been so much worse if it weren't for him. And that I am very grateful for. Yeah, so I had this injury in my leg and I could not walk straight for the longest time. Couldn't dance, couldn't move really. And then the injury spread to my back. I don't know the medical term of what I got, but ow, he's sticky. Not sticky like he's yucky or something, but he has these spikes. Yeah, so it got to my back. I'm gonna put up the the medical term on the screen, but basically it meant that I'm gonna have back pains for the rest of my life. And that was about 5 years ago, and I still have a lot of back pain. So much that I actually went to hospital just couple weeks ago. It's still very much a thing that I am struggling with. Still a thing that I have to deal with, and I sort of hate it. I really do, especially now when other parts of my life is finally getting better, other parts is getting worse. Isn't that just cruelty of life? So that is sort of the story of how I physically got an injury and how my physical health isn't the best. I feel like I put him up too high. I don't know if I can fix it. No, that was the physical part. And now for the mental part. When I started college, I actually didn't go to college because I wanted to. I did it because my parents wanted to. It's not that I didn't want to go to college at all. I just wanted to maybe work for a year or two before I go to college. And but I applied to a college here in my hometown, and my mom was so happy about it, so I couldn't really tell her that I didn't want it anymore. So I thought that, hey, at least I can try. And if I don't like it, I just tell her that, well, this wasn't for me. I'm gonna work a bit instead and see what it is I really want. And I went to this college, and sorry, it's a lot of dirt everywhere now. I went to the college and I sort of got stuck there. Not in a way that I was stuck in life or anything, but more like I felt good there, and I felt like I was learning things that was actually useful. And for the first time ever, I really understand the need for kids to know why they learn the things they learn, not just learning them. Because for the longest time I felt like, why am I learning this? It's just, I will probably never use any of this ever again. But in college, I felt like everything that they were talking about was directly usable to the career or the work that I have chosen to study about, which is pedagogy. We don't know if that's how you say it in English, but basically it's teaching. So I'm a teacher now, finally done with it, last year. And it was a hell ride to get through that education. Because not only did I have my physical injury, I wasn't taking care of myself mentally either. And I got in a very bad place pretty quickly, actually. I had just started a new part-time job because I didn't live at home, and even though the money that I got from, student loans was enough for where I lived, I felt like I didn't want to live like I didn't want to live like I was just getting by. I wanted to live and feel like I could do stuff outside and go drink or go on vacation, buy stuff I would like to have without feeling like I needed to save a lot of it. So I applied to a part-time job and I got it, and the job in itself was a really, really great job. But then I started getting sick. I started getting sick as in puking my guts out, and my stomach wasn't with me. It was hard for me to eat anything. It was hard for me to keep anything down. I was just feeling so bad for a very long time. And for a long time, I didn't know why. Now I do. And but at the time, it really affected my work because college, at least the college I went to, you can do a lot of it at home if you want to. There are lectures and so on to go there and learn at, the college. But if you are sick or something, you just, read up at home. That's not really the same thing with work because you really need to be there. Otherwise sorry, it's burp. Otherwise you don't work, And for some reason, I was okay during the day. I still had like stomach problems and problems to even eat anything. But the evenings were the worst. And my part-time work was always in the evenings throughout the night, because that's when I had time over, And I felt so bad. I felt nauseous. I felt like I could puke my guts out. And I remember all the times when I was at work and I started to see like blurry because I was so nauseous, but I was so stubborn to work. So I stayed. But then, it only gets worse. And I couldn't go to work. I called them and said that I was sick, and my boss was like, "You're really sick like all the time, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to the doctors to see what it is I'm going through." And I took all these tests. You did all these medical things, everything I could do to figure out why I was feeling so bad, and they came up with nothing. And I felt like I this was just the way it's gonna be. I'm gonna be sick for the rest of my life and no one's gonna know what's wrong with me and I will never feel okay again. And if you ever felt like that, I can tell you it will get better. It just takes time. And you will not realize that things are better until they have been good for a while. Because you realize when you feel bad, that's all you feel. You can't think of all the good things. All the bad things is just taking over your mind. But when you feel good, you don't think about how good you feel. You just go on as if it's nothing special. And I want to tell you, if you ever feel really bad, that try not to let the bad take over you. Because it did to me, and what it led to was traumatizing, so, to say the least. Anyway, after a while, after feeling like this, I realized something. It's the one time I really feel like my education provided something to me personally. We had, for one of the very first lectures, we had a lecture of, school history. How did school become a thing? So on and so forth. And one of the lecture we had was about kids and psychology. And one of the things that they had said and that I have read about that stuck with me was the fact that when kids are mentally not unstable but feel mentally bad, if something has happened at home or they are feeling depressed or some sort, they will not feel it mentally because they do not have the experience or the vocabulary to tell you what's actually happening inside their head. So the body starts to show signs of, the body starts getting sick. The body shows that you are not well inside your head, that whatever is happening that you're not dealing with takes onto your body. And that happened to me. And when I realized that, I called my mom and my boyfriend, and I was crying. I was crying so much because I felt embarrassed by the fact that I was mentally ill. Not like I was having a mental illness. It's more like I didn't feel good in my head. I was depressed. And my body knew that before I knew it. And so I called my mom and was like, am I wrong of thinking this? Is this just something that happens to kids, or is it something that could happen to adults too? Because I feel like that is what's happening to me. I feel like everything I'm doing for me and my body doesn't help. I have gone to so many doctors and so many people, and nothing is getting better. So is it that this isn't a physical sorry. Is it that this isn't a physical problem, but a mentally problem? And she said, yes, that might be very true. Because my mom is also a teacher, a really good teacher, and very skilled and professional, and I value her words very highly, like most of my family. So I decided that I'm gonna quit work because this already had, affected my work. And I didn't want it to affect my studies. So I called them and I was crying then too, even though I had pepped myself up and be like, no, you don't need to cry, just gonna call them and say, hey, I don't know what's wrong with me, I feel like it's going out on the job, and I need to take care of myself. But of course I called them and I was crying because the job that I had, I really liked it. I really did. But it wasn't something I could do when I was in that mental state. So I started to meet not a therapist, a psychologist, whatever, and started talking through my problems. And at first I felt like this is just killing time. How is talking gonna make me not puke? It's a very physical condition I have, but how can talking make that disappear? Then it became New Year's, and I hadn't been able to eat or sleep or even drink for a couple of days, and I was skin and bone. My boyfriend drove me up to the hospital, and I got to spend the night there because that's how bad it was. They put this dropper thing, and I had to spend the night there. So tired. I was so tired. And I felt like crap because all I wanted to do was puke. Because in my head it was like, okay, if I feel like this, there's something that needs to come up, and when that has come up, I can feel better. But because I haven't got anything in my system for a couple of days, I was basically starving and dehydrated. There was nothing to come up. So I was by the toilet so many times trying to puke my guts out, but there was nothing there. And I didn't know what to do, because that was all I knew, that if I feel bad, I need to puke, because afterwards I get sort of a relief. But I couldn't even do that. I just felt like trash. That was the worst day and night of my life till this day, and that happened 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, I think it's 3 years ago. Luckily for me, it went upwards after that. Very slow. Very, very slow. But still it went upwards. And in the end I started to eat and drink, and I could go to school, I could meet my friends, I could meet my family, my boyfriend. Well, he didn't really care about how I felt. He would see me anyway. And yeah. So that's sort of the backstory of how it all began. And now I have those similar feelings. This was 3 years ago, and I'm still not good. I'm still not 100% healthy. I still have a lot of back pain. I can't go out and walk or stand for more than 20 minutes before it like consumes me with pain. And I still get, sickness, like I want to puke, I'm nauseous. Every time I'm stressed out or there's a lot on my mind. And sometimes I can just burst out crying, not knowing why, because I just feel like everything and everyone is out to get me. But I know that's not true, because I'm not stupid. I know that, the world isn't, about me. No one really cares that much. I mean, if someone gives me a look at town, it's probably because I was just passing through. It's not that they think something of me, and even if they did, they're a stranger and it doesn't affect me. But I can't get out of my head, and that's the scary part. Because when I start spiraling down, there's really no stopping. You just have to wait it out. And that's hard. I'm not saying this, or even if I post this, I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I'm not saying this or doing this to make people feel bad and make people feel like they have to take care of me. I hate that, actually. I hate not being able to take care of myself. And I hate that I need to have help. But it's what I need to do to feel better. And yeah. So right now I'm in a position where my back is hurting more than usual. And that has affected the work I'm doing right now. And I'm not even working full time because of my mental health, because I'm trying to ease into it so I can have a full-time job. But because of my back, I can't work right now, which means I spend most of my time at home, in bed or in the sofa by the computer, feeling sorry for myself. Having these negative thoughts that I can't stop having. I can't stop myself. Even if I sort of stand up and be like, hey, Isolde, stop it. You know that these are just thoughts. Just thoughts. They doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean that whatever you have in your head is the absolute. They're just thoughts. But I am so consumed of these thoughts that I can't control it. And that is what makes me feel helpless. Because the sad truth is that there really isn't anyone who can help me with that except me. Because there's no one who can get inside my head but me. And I know that talking helps. It didn't feel like it in the beginning, but I know now that it helps. And I hope that just talking about it with myself like this, that I feel like it's out there and I don't need to be stuck in my head. I don't have to talk to myself in my head. I'm actually talking to myself and hearing my own words, trying to get through whatever it is I'm feeling. Well, I have replanted my plants. They look a lot better now, and I have removed quite a lot of of the dead roots. And I don't know if I feel better after this. I don't know if I will feel better. Yes, I do know that. I will feel better. And if you have similar thoughts as I do, you will also feel better. Be sure of that. It feels hopeless. It feels like it's never gonna end. But the truth is, it will. It just takes time. It just takes a lot of time. I'm not even sure if this is still recording. My phone might be dead. The memory card might be full. But either way, I have said what I'm thinking and what I wanted to say. So I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.